Your happiness is becoming harder to take away. It's no longer resting entirely upon one person, or one opportunity, or one achievement, or one perfect day. You've begun building something deeper, a way of living that continually brings you back to yourself. You're learning how to restore your peace, how to care for your body, how to protect what nourishes you, how to remain connected to meaning even when life refuses to cooperate with your plans. You're no longer waiting for happiness to happen to you. You're becoming someone whose way of life naturally produces it. This is the way of happiness. There was a time when well-being felt like something you had to pursue. You worked on yourself. You tried to create better routines. You searched for the right habits. You attempted to organize your days around what made you feel stronger, calmer, and more alive, and some days it worked. Other days it disappeared beneath stress. The routine broke, the plan changed, your energy fell. A disappointment reached deeper than expected. Life interrupted the version of well-being you were trying to build, yet every time you returned, something very important happened. The practice became more familiar. The return became faster. The lesson entered your character. Eventually, you were no longer merely practicing the way. You were living it. Now, foundation is where happiness begins. The foundation is built from the ordinary conditions beneath your life: sleep, nutrition, movement, stress reduction, relationships, a sense of purpose. These are the 6 pillars of health. Each pillar supports a different part of your well-being. Sleep restores the body, clears the mind. Nutrition provides the material from which strength is made. Movement reminds the body that it was created to participate in life. Stress reduction allows your system to return from constant alarm. Relationships keep the heart connected to something beyond itself. Purpose gives direction to your days. Now, happiness becomes more stable when these pillars begin supporting one another. You rest well enough to move. Movement improves your ability to manage stress. Lower stress helps you become more present in relationships. Those relationships strengthen your sense of meaning. And that purpose gives you a reason to care for the body that carries it. The entire structure is beginning to work together, you see. Now, the foundation doesn't require perfection. Your sleep will sometimes be interrupted. Meals will be improvised. Movement might change according to health and responsibilities. Stress can't be eliminated from the living world, right? Relationships will go through difficult seasons. Purpose sometimes becomes quiet while a new direction develops. A foundation isn't an unchanging schedule. It's not a life without disruption. It's a structure to which you know how to return. You know what nourishes you. You know what drains you. You know the conditions under which you become more clear. You recognize the warning signs of imbalance. And you've begun learning the shape of your own flourishing. This knowledge is part of the foundation. And then life tests it, right? Loss arrives. Disappointment enters the room. An illness changes the schedule. A relationship changes form. A carefully constructed plan fails. Responsibilities increase while energy decreases. The future becomes uncertain. And this is where the foundation meets reality. And the question becomes, can your well-being survive an imperfect life? Can you continue caring for yourself when the reward is delayed? Can you remain connected to purpose while grieving? Can you protect your health while solving a financial problem? Can you maintain relationships while carrying stress? Can you return after falling away from the practices that support you. The trial does not necessarily destroy the foundation. It might reveal the place where the foundation remains incomplete. So perhaps the missing pillar is sleep. You're trying to repair exhaustion with discipline. You demand more effort from a body that needs restoration. You blame yourself for lacking motivation while repeatedly denying yourself the conditions from which motivation grows. Perhaps the missing pillar is nutrition. Your mood, concentration, and energy are being asked to function without dependable physical support. Perhaps the missing pillar is movement. Energy has become trapped with stillness, right? Stress has nowhere to go. Perhaps the missing pillar is stress reduction. Every ordinary demand reaches a system that's already carrying too much. Now, maybe the missing pillar is relationship. You're attempting to produce belonging through achievement. You're surrounded by people, yet very little of your true experience is being shared. Perhaps the missing pillar is purpose. The calendar is full, but the days don't seem to lead anywhere meaningful. The trial asks you to identify the absence, which pillar needs your attention. Now, this is where happiness becomes more honest, because happiness isn't constant pleasure. It's not permanent emotional brightness. It's the living result of continued alignment. You can experience grief and still remain aligned with life. You can be disappointed and still care for your body. You can endure uncertainty and still protect your sleep. You can fail and still remain connected to your purpose. You can lose one relationship without closing your heart to every form of connection. You can pass through stress without turning stress into your permanent identity. The happy person experiences the same weather as everyone else. Their way of living continually leads them home. Foundation plus trial becomes a way of life. The 4 plus the 5 equals the 9. The stable structure meets an unstable world. The routine meets interruption. Care meets difficulty. Purpose meets uncertainty. Relationship meets loss. The body meets time. Through this meeting, your practices become more than ideas. They are tested, adjusted, strengthened, and personalized. You discover which habits work only when life is easy. You discover which ones can travel with you into the hard seasons. You learn the difference between a rigid routine and a reliable principle. A rigid routine breaks when conditions change. A principle adapts while preserving its purpose. You may not be able to follow the usual schedule, but you can still protect rest. You might not be able to perform the usual workout, but you can still move. Maybe you can't solve the entire problem, but you can still reduce unnecessary stress. And maybe you don't know your ultimate purpose, but you can still perform today's meaningful work. This is how well-being survives reality. And you have returned enough times for the return to become part of you, and that matters. You've gathered evidence that one difficult day does not erase your progress. One disrupted week does not destroy your character. One indulgence does not invalidate your discipline. One failure does not close the path. One painful season does not prove that happiness has abandoned you. You know how to begin again. You know how to examine the pillars. You know how to find the missing support and how to make the next restoring choice. This ability is more valuable than an uninterrupted record of perfection. Perfection has never been tested. Your way has. Eventually, you stop saying, "I'm trying to become healthy," And you start saying, I care for my health, right? You stop saying, I'm working on boundaries. You begin protecting your time naturally. You stop saying, I need to find my purpose. And you begin arranging your days around meaningful work. You stop saying, I should invest more in my relationships. You become someone who calls and listens and appears and remains present. That habit enters identity. Practice becomes character. Becoming one with the Tao. You're no longer forcing healthy choices against your nature. Your nature has been educated by repetition. Your standards have changed. Your preferences have changed. Your understanding of pleasure has changed. You recognize that what feels good for a moment and what creates well-being are sometimes different things. You've learned to choose the form of pleasure that can remain with you tomorrow. And this is why the way of happiness feels peaceful. You no longer need to negotiate every decision from the beginning. The deeper choice has already been made. You have decided that your body deserves care, that peace requires protection. You've decided that meaningful relationships need time, that your purpose deserves a place on the calendar. You've decided that recovery is productive, and that your life must contain more than survival. Each daily action becomes an expression of the person you have already chosen to be. The question is no longer, can I force myself to do the healthy thing? The question is, what would be consistent with the life I now live? See, most people imagine happiness as an event. They believe it will arrive when the money reaches a certain number, when the body reaches a certain shape, when the relationship becomes secure, the work is successful, or the house is done, or the problems are gone. When every part of life finally starts cooperating. This keeps happiness standing outside the present. It remains one achievement away, one repair, one answer away. The way of happiness teaches something different. Happiness is cultivated through your relationship with the life already in your hands. Money can support well-being. Health can expand your capacity for joy. Love can deepen the experience. Achievement can create satisfaction. Yet none of them can replace the way you live. A beautiful destination cannot compensate forever for a destructive road. You become happy by becoming someone who knows how to live. Someone who rests before exhaustion becomes collapse. Someone who eats in a way that supports tomorrow. Someone who moves because the body is alive. Someone who can feel stress without giving it unlimited authority. Someone who participates in relationships rather than merely possessing them. Someone whose days are connected to purpose. Now, this person still has problems. Still got bills, conflict, uncertainty, illness, aging, failure, grief. Happiness is not ignorance or exemption. It's resilience produced by alignment. Life moves them. The way restores them. Imagine happiness as a path through a changing landscape. Some sections pass through open fields where the sun is warm, the road's easy to see. Other sections enter the forest, the air becomes colder, the way narrows. Branches conceal the horizon. Rain might change the ground beneath your feet. The path does not disappear because the scenery changes, so you keep walking. You adjust your pace. You use what you've learned. You rest when rest is required. You accept help when another hand appears. You remember that darkness within one section of the road does not describe the entire journey. This is the way. a direction you can continue following through different conditions. Now, happiness is also the ability to receive what is good. Many people know how to pursue, to do, to improve, repair, prepare, protect. They become so skilled at identifying the next problem that they lose the ability to recognize when something is already good. Ooh, the meal's warm. The room is safe. The body's breathing. The work is finished for today. Someone you love is nearby. A small answer has arrived. There's laughter in the house. And there's enough for this moment. And the afternoon light has reached the floor. The future remains unfinished, yeah, but this moment contains something worthy of your presence. Let yourself receive it. A life of happiness requires both cultivation and recognition. You build the conditions. Then you notice when happiness grows there. Because see, you're allowed to enjoy what you've built. You're allowed to feel satisfaction without immediately turning it into another demand. You're allowed to acknowledge improvement. You're allowed to say, this is better. This is working. I handled that well. My life contains something beautiful. I'm proud of the way I live. Contentment does not end ambition. It prevents ambition from becoming starvation. You can appreciate the present while continuing toward the future. You can enjoy the garden while planting another row. You can celebrate progress while recognizing the work that remains. You can experience enough without abandoning growth. Happiness and aspiration can live within the same person. Now, ahead of you is an ideal. Perfect harmony. Perfect love, perfect belonging, every pillar fully supported, every relationship at peace, the body thriving, the work is meaningful, the home is secure, the heart's completely open. This ideal is the horizon. It gives direction to the path, but it's never held permanently. As you approach it, life continues moving. New needs appear. New relationships develop and change. The body changes. Your purpose evolves. Every step forward on the path changes the perspective of that ideal. The horizon moves because the ideal is meant to guide you, not imprison you within another demand for perfection. You don't need to arrive at perfect happiness before your life can be considered good. Walk toward it. Let it correct your direction. Let it inspire a more complete structure. Then return to the step beneath your feet. The way is available today. Protect tonight's sleep. Choose the food that supports the body you're building. Move in a way that reminds you of your strength. Remove one unnecessary source of stress. Reach towards someone who nourishes your life. Perform one action connected to purpose. You don't need to repair all 6 pillars at once. Begin with the one that's asking for your attention. The missing pillar, it's not an accusation, it's not proof that you failed, it's information. Restore that support. Allow the structure to become stronger. Let today's choice become part of tomorrow's character. This is your realignment. I cultivate the conditions from which happiness grows. I protect my sleep. I nourish my body. I move with care and consistency. I reduce the stress that does not need to follow me. I invest in relationships that allow love to circulate. I organize my life around meaningful purpose. I recognize which pillar needs support. I allow trials to reveal where my foundation can become stronger. I return without condemning myself for having wandered. I adapt my practices without abandoning their principles. I understand that one difficult day does not define my way of life. I can experience grief without losing my path. I can face disappointment without abandoning myself. I can receive pleasure without sacrificing tomorrow. I notice what is already good. I allow myself to enjoy what I've built. I appreciate the present while continuing to grow. I'm becoming someone whose habits naturally support well-being. Happiness is no longer an accident within my life. Happiness is becoming my way. Feel the 6 pillars gathering beneath you. Sleep restores you. Nutrition strengthens you. Movement awakens you. Peace returns to your system. Relationships connect you. And purpose calls you forward. The structure doesn't need to be flawless. It needs to be living, responsive and honest, strong enough to hold you, and yet flexible enough to change with you. You've built before. You've been tested before, and you've returned before. Every return has taught your feet the road. Every trial has revealed another place where care was needed. Every lesson has become part of the person standing here now. Look at who you have become. You're no longer merely working on your well-being. You're learning to live from it. You know that happiness cannot be demanded from one person. You know that achievement alone cannot carry it. You know that pleasure without alignment quickly disappears. You know that a good life is built beneath the visible moments of joy. It's built through the hour you go to bed, the food on your table, the movement you give your body, the boundary that protects your peace, the attention you offer someone you love, the work you perform because it belongs to your will. These choices look very ordinary, but together they become a life. So walk the way of happiness. Walk it through celebration. Walk it through uncertainty. Walk it when the road is easy. Walk it when one pillar needs repair. Walk it without requiring yourself to feel joy in every moment. Walk it because you know where the path leads. Toward greater health, deeper connection, clearer purpose, more stable peace. A life capable of receiving joy without clinging to it. A life capable of surviving sorrow without becoming sorrow. A life that continually restores itself through the way it is lived. You have practiced long enough to recognize the road. You have been tested enough to trust the return. You have become someone who knows how to come home. And from this moment forward, may every trial reveal the pillar ready to be strengthened. May every restoring choice enter more deeply into your character. And may the life you build through sleep, nourishment, movement, peace, relationship, and purpose become a living way of happiness, through which your joy, health, and will can flourish. If this transmission found you at the right moment, subscribe to Dove and Serpent daily, and return tomorrow for the next realignment.